When people ask me what was my motivation for starting a pet business, it was literally to do what I like to do, which was hang out with my two dogs, Renzo and Ruby, on the beach. And so I ended up quitting my job because I was like, you know what? I'm done with it. I know there's a bigger, brighter, better situation out here for me. What do I want to be doing with my life? Now, previously, when I went to get employment, I would kind of look at an automotive dealership and I would say, oh, that one looks like a nice one. Let's go for it. And I would literally pick my dealerships just in that fashion. But when it came to starting a pet business, I was sitting on the beaches of Miami after taking a sabbatical, and I said, okay, I'm going to have to eventually start making money, going back to work, do something. What is it that I want to do that will still yield me freedom? And so I was like, you know what? I want to just keep doing this. Honestly, like I had no answer. I was just sitting there and I said, I just want to keep doing this, which was sitting on the beach with Renzo and Ruby, my pug and Frenchie. And I was like, what kind of job can I do that allow me to continue where I am? And I said, you know what? I'm going to be a dog walker. Now, the funniest thing is, I found out that people end up being a dog walker when they're like in between jobs and they just can't figure it out. So, obviously, this is almost 10 years ago. And I'm like, I didn't even know that that was kind of like a cliche thing. But in my brain, or the way God speaks to me, I said, you know what? I'm going to be a dog walker. And I said, I don't want to do it in Miami. I'm going to go back home to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to start the pet business in like the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. And so I ended up getting back in the car, going home, and I just started. Literally, I just started. And so the first thing I did was create a name, and the name was Walk with Renzo and Ruby because I said, you know what? That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be walking on this journey, walking through this faith, with Renzo and Ruby. And that was kind of, synonymous for my journey and the business. So that was the name. Didn't think about any market research, didn't think about branding or shorten it up. The long name, Walk with Renzo and Ruby, was the name. And the name sold because the name had a story. And so through new episodes, you will hear about branding and stories and how to sell them because that is something I'm passionate about. But yeah, that was the name. Nothing more to think about. Walk with Renzo Newbie. Here we go. And so I ended up going on Vistaprint and I created a flyer. I put it on my Facebook. I told local friends. I had lived in multiple luxury apartment buildings. And so I knew that was definitely going to be an avatar of mine. So I went over, I got lunch for the concierge, the leasing agents, and I did what I do best. I love people. That's obviously been one of the benefits for me in the pet industry is that a lot of us don't love people, but I really do love people. Like I love to talk. I love fixing problems. I love to help. That's just my personality. And so I went right in, say, hey, ladies, what do you guys need? What do you have going on? How can I help you? What can I do for you? And that started the spiral of a beautiful thing. So it really wasn't much thought about it. It was just that I want to work, 4 or 5 hours, hang out with my dogs, walk other people's animals, love them, take care of them. But I also wanted to do it in a very particular way that rolled out a professional experience. Now, I had dog walkers as a client. So working in the automotive industry, 12, 13 hours, I had hired a dog walker. They came twice a day, once in the mid morning, once in the evening. And my guy was great. He was chill, laid back, kind of like a weed head. He, was loved by all the dogs in the building. He didn't give you much pizzazz, no fluff, no frills, but I knew how much I was paying him. So I knew that I was paying him almost $1,000 per month to take care of my dogs. And so I said, wow, wonder what this would look like if we rolled out like a premium experience based on the love and care of animals. It's something that I knew as a client that my dogs deserved. It's something I wanted for them. And I knew there was a gap between how we see each other in the pet industry to how we could obviously bring value in a monetary way, but also roll out that like red carpet. I worked for Mercedes, I worked for Lexus. I knew how the Ritz Carlton style that I was trained in, um, Customers love to be pampered, and who better to pamper but their pets? So I knew that going into it. And everyone in the car industry and everyone in my family thought I was literally crazy. I sold all my Louboutins. I got out of my penthouse apartment in Washington, D.C. I moved to the suburbs where it was very cheap. I got into a very small apartment, maybe like 475 square feet in the Maryland area, very small. I got a Toyota Prius and I just flipped my life upside down. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going after material things in this season of life. I'm going after peace, harmony, freedom, relaxation, and really just love and joy. That's how I'm going to make my money moving forward. And that kind of leads me to where I am now in more the soft era of entrepreneurship. But we're going to go through the whole journey of how we got here in previous episodes. So anyhow, we downsized essentially. We are now starting this dog walker business. Everybody that knows me knows I'm high maintenance and I've created this very prestigious life. Wasn't born affluent, but did, acquire affluent lifestyle. And they were like, "You gonna tell me that you're gonna quit Lexus and become a dog walker?" And I said, "Yeah, I am," because I had a master plan. I knew it would work. So that's what I started to do. I started to network. I started to work with other concierges in the DC area. I put my business on Thumbtack and I started to get business. My girlfriend said, "Hey, if you want to take this serious, I just hired a makeup artist on Thumbtack. Why don't you put your business on there?" And I said, "You know what? Sure. Why not?" I had just been getting in maybe like 3, 4 clients from just like the local Maryland area. But then when I decided to put my business on Thumbtack, I noticed that all my business was coming in from Washington, D.C. Now, I am a small suburban Maryland girl. I was not prepared to conquer the city. But I said, you know what? I got to listen to the data. And if all my clients are coming in, they live very close to each other, they're all coming in from kind of the same area, the same zip code. I would go down to Washington, DC, kinda just to club with my girlfriends, in the evenings. I didn't drive, they drove. I just knew how to get to my girlfriend's house, and I parked. So, doing the states and the street names and F Street and K Street and First, I was like, "Oh god, I do not wanna get down in the city and get lost." But I said, "You know what? This is not gonna be a reason why I don't succeed." Mind you, I'd been making, pretty healthy six-figure salary in the automotive industry, and my main goal was to replace that income. So that was like my first benchmark to prove to myself that this could work and it would be better for me to continue on the path that I was on. So I'm like, "You know what, God, give me a sign that tells me that I'm in the right place." And so first benchmarker was 25 clients. I had calculated that 25 clients would yield me around $5,000. That was like the bare bone minimum that I could reduce all my expenses. And that's what I would do. So one client obviously led to 4, led to 5, led to 50, and multiple membership clients and employees after that. But when people ask me what was my motive, like why did I decide to do this? It was literally just to have a lifestyle. I don't think we quit our jobs and say like, "Oh, I want to go hustle and bustle and do this again." We literally quit our jobs, most of us in search of freedom. That has been my word from the very first day I started until where I am today. I want to have autonomy. I want to have options. I want to be able to pick and choose how I live life. I want to move with ease. And as you will hear in episodes, it did not always work out that way. We had to fight for it. We had to work for it. We had to put a hell of a lot of systems in place for us to get to where we are now. And so that's my hopes for you all is kind of take you through the journey of really just a blanket idea of, hey, let's just do this. Probably where you guys are today. Let's start this pet industry. Let's start this grooming business. Let's start the training company. Let's start the walk-in train company. Let's start the pet sitting company. But you just really doing it purely out of love and passion. But what we can show you is that your passion can also turn into profit. You can also roll out a white glove experience for your clients and do so in a way that makes you feel good every single day. You can say no more often, you can say yes more often, but align yourself in a business that supports your future generations to come. So, my motive, of course, is freedom. Do the things I love now. I have 6 dogs. I'm sitting here talking to you all today. They're all surrounded by my feet right now, and this is just pure bliss. This is the life that I wanted to create. This is the life in the pet era for you that I hope you're allowed to choose and say, "You know what? The way I'm running my business is not fulfilling. It's not what I thought it would be. It's not what I set out to when I first said yes." And if that's you right now, I encourage you to take a step back and think about what you want to start doing from this point on. I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you got value from episode 1. Episode 1, in the most part of the motive, talks about really your why. And are we sticking to that why? If you're doing a self assessment quarterly, yearly, are you sticking to why? Are you still going after your freedom? Are you still going after your health? Are you still going after more time with family? Are you still living an autonomous life? What's the why? Why did you start doing this? And reassess and make sure you're still in that very same place. And if you're not, it's something that I do on my birthdays. It's something that I do in my quarterly check ins to make sure that I'm not saying yes to things that are getting me off track. So I hope you enjoyed the episode of The Motive and reassess what your motive is. Let me know in our group chat what you thought.